afternoon, yeah.
Let's start that again. I'll say good afternoon, everybody, because I think she was having a stroke.
I never have a smooth start.
It's going to be one of those days. But it's all good. We can have fun, but we're not playing games.
Oh my.
Well, what do you got for us, Sue?
What?
What do you have for us? Yes.
Hello. Yes, today we're talking about loss. Sudden loss. I'm sorry. We were trying to get the camera working right, and I didn't realize that I was on Facebook already. So this is a serious subject, though, and I don't want to make light of it. Most of us, at some point in our life, experience sudden loss. At hospice, you know, we're usually dealing with people who have anticipatory grief, where they know that their loved one is going to pass, and you know, they're preparing for that, and they kind of feel like they're on, what would be the word? They feel like they're preparing for that, and kind of on edge, but, you know, knowing that that is coming, and that they are going to have to deal with that at some point. But sometimes in life we have instances where a loved one just suddenly dies, whether it be through an accident or a suicide or a homicide or just some type of traumatic ending, maybe a surgery that didn't have the outcome that we expected. And so there, you know, we're suddenly at a point where we weren't expecting it, and we lost someone that is very near and dear to us, and so that throws us into some really difficult times. Often during that, a person can feel very disoriented. Their life feels like chaos. Things feel fragmented, disorganized. A person can feel emotionally charged, and so it's a difficult time, and I think that especially during those circumstances, people need a lot of support. Bob, would you have anything to share on that?
Yeah, well, I think part of the issue when I've experienced it, you know, I got a phone call in a couple instances, one that a sister had passed, one that a brother had passed, neither was expected. Part of the issue for me, and I'm not making light of this, I'm just saying this is the way it is. I'm the ADHD boy, and us ADHD people, we need structure. I don't like change. I don't like things to change. If you ever go to a restaurant with me, which you're willing to, I'm more than willing to let you take me out and pay for lunch anytime. I don't need a menu. I know what I've had before, and I'm not going to change it. One of the reasons that we dislike change is because we assume that if it's been this way for a while, then it's fine. That's the best it can be. We can't plan. You mentioned that one of the issues, someone who's on hospice care, you know, we know at the time that someone's admitted into hospice what the ultimate outcome is going to be. Now it's just, you know, we're trying to control symptoms and make it, and it's usually the case that we actually make and help them have a good end. So we have an idea of what to expect, but when it's sudden, it throws off our plans, and that really, and I'm not trying to make light of it, but that's a big part of what affects a lot of people. Is this isn't the way it was supposed to be. I was supposed to, you know, I had my life planned out. I'm going to grow up, get married, go to school, or not necessarily in that order. Have the 2.6 kids or whatever in a 2-car garage, and everything is structured out. a sudden loss, all of a sudden that all changes, and it throws it into a tizzy. And sometimes, even with the anticipatory stuff, you can't plan. You do your best. There's a reason that people still have to file extensions on our taxes. We know what day every year tax day is coming, yet somehow we're still late for it. My youngest son, you couldn't just surprise him with, okay, but it's time for bed. Well, he would go into a tizzy because he's playing, and that messed up his plans. So we started this thing, okay, Bennett, 20 minutes to bedtime. Okay, 20 minutes, to a little kid, I've got a lifetime yet, I can keep playing. 10 minutes ago by, Bennett, 10 minutes to bedtime. Still, in his mind, he's got the world of time to play and to plan. We go 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and he'd be all fine with it, happy. And we say, okay, it's time for bed. And it's like we just destroyed his world. He didn't see this coming, even though we give warning and warning and warning. And we all know that every one of us has an expiration date, whenever that is, and we have our plans that we want this to be, and it throws off our world. And we had plans, and if we're able to change those plans, when those plans are changed by something that we can't control, then that cost is to us. And I wrote down something. The only reason that you feel loss is because you felt love. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel. The only reason we understand sadness is because you understood happiness. I know I sort of jumped in here, and I'll give it back to you in a second. I come across a little poem that seems to help make sense of it, which is another part. When you have a sudden loss, all of a sudden you have to try to, in your mind, make sense of the whole world. And you're negotiating with yourself, you may be negotiating with God, and we have these stages of grief that we've all heard about. The problem is there are no particular order, and you're not going to identify which one you're in. You have to go through them. But sometimes it helps to have something to be able to reach out to other people to help make sense of it. And the poem says, when you lose someone you love, life will change. You rearrange. And everything around you seems so strange. The world will spin in the wrong direction. You can feel alone and want affection. Your appetite changes, you may not sleep. You don't feel like talking to anyone you meet. But as time goes on, things will get better, and everything will just come together. And just because you smile, it doesn't mean that you don't care, because you know in your heart that they'll always be there. So hopefully you will get through this. Let me give you that hope for if you're going through. I've got some friends that just went through a sudden loss this past week. I can't imagine the pain that they're going through. I remember when my nephew was killed in a training accident in the Army. It was unexpected. He'd done 4 combat tours, and it comes back home to Texas and is killed by a stupid negligence of someone else. And I'm talking to my brother, and I said, I'm impressed with you, because I got to be honest, if it was me, we all think we know, but we don't know. Mm-hmm. It's like telling someone who hasn't had kids yet, they haven't had children, and they think they know what it's all about. You don't know. And when you don't know unless you've been through it. And I told him, I said, I am so impressed with the way that you guys are even surviving. And sometimes it's just survival mode. That's all you can do, is simply just breathe. Then you take 1 minute to the next minute. And I said, if it was me, I got to be honest, I may have crawled up into a bottle and just stayed right there, if it was me. So there's no right or wrong way. The only thing I can say, and I don't know if it gives any hope at all, is that you will get through this. You will be able to move on. You're never going to get over it. I hate that when people tell people to get over it. You can't, because this may sound crass, but what kind of cold-hearted SOB would you be if you got over caring about someone that you love? we're not supposed to. You will manage it. You will have better days. You'll have a good day. You'll have a day that's going to be terrible. It's just the reality of it. But then those good days will get a little closer together, and the bad days will be farther apart. And they eventually can all be good days, even though there's a part that's missing. So you will get through it. Reach out to somebody. Reach out to us. Whatever we can do, we will. Sometimes it's just having someone to listen to you that has some understanding of it. We can't fix it. We can't patch the hole in your heart. We can't fill that spot. But there is something to knowing that you aren't alone.
So, I hope that this is a little bit of encouragement. I think when I make my phone calls and talk to people, so often they ask me, is this normal what I'm going through, feeling this way? It feels so bad, it feels so horrible, and I feel like I should be doing better than this. All those feelings are normal. Hopefully as time goes on, you begin to feel better. And sometimes people, they don't feel better, and they need a little extra help. So there's no shame in that either. Experiencing death is probably one of the hardest things that we all go through. And, there's no shame in asking for help. So I just want you to know that we're here, and that we, in our bereavement program, we're here to offer compassion, to offer some companionship, support, and if you need, maybe a little deeper help, we can help refer you to a counselor, somebody that can work with you, but we are here, and we would love to be a support to you. All right, thank you.
Well, let me close with one thought. I know that most places have their professional, obligated people that are to help with different areas like grief and bereavement. And although we have that, that's not why we do what we do. The reason, and I hope this comes through, is that we sincerely, honestly, really care about you, and we don't want you to go through it alone. Ultimately, what we're here to do is to help hold your heart. So thank you for joining us, and I hope we get to see you soon.